This is Greenpeace apparently posed as headhunters, you know, guys who hire people away from other companies or find positions to fill, sort of. They recorded a conversation with the top Exxon lobbyist who explains how they work to slow any climate action. They named, what was it, 10 senators? Democrats included Tester, Coons, Manchin. Who else was it? A couple others. Coons was the big one that was like, I think it's going to upset some people. Completely consistent with what I've been saying about him for a long time. Which one is better, Brendan? Why don't you play it? Here it is.
He sought to recruit to their lobbying campaign, and they're not all Republicans.
We're playing defense because President Biden's talking about this big infrastructure package, and he's going to pay for it by increasing corporate taxes. You stick to highways and bridges, then a lot of the negative stuff starts to come out because
for you guys,
because there's a germaneness, right? That doesn't make any sense for a highway bill. Why would you put in a something on emissions reductions on climate change to oil refineries in a highway bill?
Who's the crucial guys for you?
Well, Senator Capito, who's the ranking member on Environment and Public Works, Joe Manchin, I talk to his office every week, and he is the kingmaker on this because he's a Democrat from West Virginia, which is a very conservative state, and he's not shy about sort of staking his claim early and completely changing the debate. So on the Democrat side, we look for the moderates on these issues. So it's the Manchins, it's the Cinemas, it's the Testers.
Exxon is even trying to get through to President Biden through his friend, Senator Chris Coons.
Other ones that aren't talking about is Senator Coons, who's from Delaware, who has a very close relationship with Senator Biden. So we've been working with his office. Matter of fact, our CEO is talking to him next Tuesday. Then you take it out a little bit more and you say, okay, well, who's up for re-election in 2022? That's Hassan, that's Kelly. And then obviously the Republicans. We have a great relationship with the senators where we have assets. I can't worry about the 2027 class because they're not focused on re-election. The 2022 class is focused on re-election. So I know I have them. Those are the Marco Rubios. Those are the Senator Kennedys. Those are the Senator Daines. So you can have those conversations with them because they're a captive audience. They know they need you and I need them.
Dan Easley left Exxon earlier this year after nearly 8 years lobbying for the corporation. He described just how big a problem Biden's original proposal posed for oil and gas companies.
Oh, it's going to be replete with provisions that will be difficult for oil and gas. Take away tax, favorable tax treatment. They're going to raise the corporate rate, and then a whole host of new environmental requirements, right. and procurement requirements from the federal government to purchase, green energy and renewable technologies, and retrofitting federal buildings, and it's going to accelerate the transition to the extent that I think 4 years from now it's going to be difficult to unwind that. So we're all living in a different world.
For years,
it is fascinating to watch these guys talk about this way, right? I mean, it's fascinating. They're just like, there's such a lament and it's almost like a drippy disgust of like, they're gonna slow the roll of climate change. It's gross. You're not gonna be able to unwind that. You're not gonna, what are we gonna do like when we start going all renewables? It's gonna be, isn't it like just sick?
It's so, I can't even express how revolting that is to see that guy in his basement with his fireplace behind him talking about this, like as if it's just some sort of project at work, but you're ruining the planet, you psychos.
They're sick. It's just, it's sick. It is like, it's so banal, right? It is like, this is the banality of evil that Hannah Arendt writes about. Like, this is it right here. Like, these guys just sitting there just going, ugh. There's no, it's unbelievable. Go ahead.
Does in Washington, D.C.
Did we aggressively fight against some of the science? Yes. Did we hide our science? Absolutely not. Did we join some of these shadow groups to work against some of the early efforts? Yes, that's true. But there's nothing illegal about that. We were looking out for our investments. We were looking out for our shareholders. And you're not going to be able to just switch to battery-operated vehicles or wind for your electricity, and just having that conversation around why that's not possible in the next 10 years is critically important to the work that we do. So, and that's at every phase. That's in the Senate, that's in the House, that's with the administration. Something like climate change, there's some forest fires, there's an increase of 0.001 Celsius. That doesn't affect people's everyday lives.
Frickin', I honestly, like, I'm speechless when I watch that.
It's amazing we're the #1 jailer on earth, and guys like that have zero fear of ever facing any kind of accountability for
It's
the lifetime of
amazing.
their work.
I this October, I'm just buying my tickets now to go to the tort conference, and I talk to these lawyers, and I'm like, what, because they will talk more privately, but also sometimes publicly, of the stuff that they find in discovery, right? And like the glibness and the facileness of the way that these executives talk about things that will have like incredible implications for hundreds, tens of thousands, millions of people's lives, and to hear them talk about it in that way, it's just parsing out. Did we fight the science? Yes. Did we hide our own studies? No. We didn't promote them. We didn't talk about them. We didn't let them dictate our actions. We just didn't hide them.
It's called the file drawer effect.
Exactly. But I mean, what is involved in not hiding? Like, if we did a study in this office and we don't release it, like, are we hiding it? No. Just nobody's come and found it in like on Matt's desk, under the pile of Snicker bar wrappers. Or
There's
whatever.
a study that we found out that actually what we do here every day is leading us farther away from Medicare for all, but we're suppressing that because it'd be bad for business.
We fight some of the science. We don't hide it. We don't hide that report. Unbelievable. I mean, really just sick. And the thing is that if you don't see this tape on the nightly news every night of the week, when we're in the middle of this infrastructure bill, right? Like, the biggest thing that could be happening with our government, I don't want to overstate this. I don't want to understate this. The biggest thing that's happening with our government right now, and really the biggest thing that's happened with our government, put aside the Supreme Court for a moment, from a legislative perspective, this infrastructure bill is going to be the biggest thing that has happened to our government, certainly since the ACA, which got 2 years of wall-to-wall coverage in the run-up to passing it. The idea that they're going to spend $4 trillion, or could, and really reorient our economy towards, renewable energy, that's huge. That's huge. Like, beyond huge. Ratings suck for everybody right now in politics. There is absolutely no excuse that they're not covering it. Of course, they're going to cover it to a certain extent. But this tape where they're talking about, we have access to these guys' office. They're not bragging to anybody.
The most frustrating thing about politics is the unelaborated vetoes by people in power, because all this political, the commentary, truly people who don't have to go on news to defend their decisions get to make decisions and say, oh, we're just not going to do climate change, or we're just not going to raise the minimum wage, right? And you see why it's not elaborated, because when they elaborate it and you see it straight from the horse's mouth, it is so infuriating.
Yep. And apparently only Hayes is the only one who, at least during prime time, has covered this tape. I mean, this is nuts. It's nuts. And the idea that this wouldn't be wall to wall, are you kidding me?
Well, also the fact that like this was done under the pretense of like a corporate recruiter. These guys trying to sell themselves as good lobbyists, and this is what a good lobbyist does at the end of the day.
Yep. It's really unbelievable.
More of this, please. Good job to everybody who
Yes.
got this out.
Very well done. Very well done.
Folks, there's more of what you've just saw where that came from. That's if you hit the subscribe and like button. Thank you. Really, thank you.